Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to be back in Romania, to be back in Bucharest, because I was here many times as a student, at the time to enjoy the sea. Then we've been working with the Romanian diplomatic corps on getting both our countries to join the NATO, to join the European Union together. And it's of course a pleasure to work with Romania on such important projects like the Energy Union. And I was very happy that I could attend your conference, because Aspen Institute in Romania is doing an absolutely remarkable job. When I saw the quality of the conference, the level of the participants, you really have to be impressed by the topics selected, but also by the high level of speakers. So I'm really honored to receive your invitation and to be here with you today. Because I am, as it was already said, on the Energy Union tour. What I do, I'm kind of campaigning for this project, because I know that to have it done, we cannot build the Energy Union in Brussels. We need strong sense of national ownership. We need the support of the stakeholders. We need support of the national governments, of national parliaments, and first and foremost of the citizens, because this is what we want to achieve. We want to achieve the Energy Union, which would enhance energy security, which would complete internal energy market, which would help us to use better European technologies to moderate our demand and increase energy efficiency. And we want to proceed with our decarbonization of our economies, which would lead to the big transformational processes across all the economies in Europe, and I believe across the globe as well. And of course, we want to do it in our European way, meaning to use our R&E, research and innovation, our scientific potential we have in Europe. Therefore, I'm very glad that Romania is actually 19th country on my tour, and I can tell you from my experience that each visit was very informative, was very important, and this is also the case today, when I already had quite a few meetings which were very enriching for me, and from which we are bringing a lot of new information and positive insights back home. When I was presenting the Energy Union strategy, there was a lot of questions. What's new about it? Why this Energy Union strategy should succeed now? What's different? And I think that the major difference is that for the first time we managed to really overcome that traditional, what I think we would agree today, old-fashioned approach to how we saw the energy. Because we saw it as a power generation, production, distribution, and the consumption. That was energy. That was energy policy. But we realized over the last few years that we cannot talk about energy policy without taking into account the importance of climate change. The strong arrival of new technologies bringing us stronger renewable sector. That we cannot dissociate our energy and climate policies from a very important energy consumers like transport. And that we, when speaking about energy security, we have to include energy diplomacy into this process. We have to include our trade colleagues to deal with these issues, and we need to work with the scientific community. I'm here being actually very short from where we got all the ingredients, because in the end we worked in a project team for Energy Union where there was 14 commissioners working together, and I believe that this helped us tremendously to bring this holistic perspective, which is working on 5 dimensions, mutually reinforcing but also mutually enriching each other, and that offers us a framework which can be adjusted to every single member state, but at the same time to respect regional and European-wide cooperation. And I think it's very important for countries like Romania, because you've been a traditionally supply-driven energy market due to your natural resources and due to your traditional position as the energy exporters. But I think that Energy Union can bring additional, very important elements to position Romania in a role of very important regional energy hub. And I think that also with the recent announcement and the good news from the Black Sea, we have seen that this is already being proved by additional reserves which have been found there, but also by the importance of all the projects which are now under the considerations about the better interconnection, strengthening of your internal gas and electricity network, and good cooperation with your partner. But at the same time, we also will be working very closely with Romania about and on the very important process of the transformation of the economy, of this decarbonization of the whole economic cycles. Because I think that with the changes we see in our planet, it's quite clear that the 21st century would not be only about who has bigger reserves of oil, gas, or coal. The leaders of the new economy will be those who can find the best technological solutions for integrating sustainable energy. Those countries which would be able to introduce faster and in more economic and efficient way the smart grids. Those who would be able to put this new energy paradigm at the service of the citizens, consumers, and the whole economy. And I think that it's not only about the air pollution or environmental pressure, it's also about these new economic paradigms being formed, about the green economy, green growth, and new renewable sources and the new industry which is linked with that. Therefore, I'm particularly glad that Romania also in this respect is progressing very well. If you look about the targets which have been set for Romania for 2020, we can say that already in 2013 you almost achieved all of them. Be it reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, be it in the field of production of energy from renewable sources, or be it in energy efficiency. I don't want to say that you should stop. No, I think that you should encourage the positive developments, positive tendencies, because it really shows that you can really achieve very good results in a very short period of time. And we see that there is still a lot of untapped potential, especially if it comes to solar and biomass in Romania, and even more efficient use of hydro energy in your country. And I think that would be very important not only for the energy sector, but it's very important for creating something what I think it's more and more often called business models of the future, professions of the future, companies of the future, because the companies which are energy efficient, companies which are based on the smart technologies are actually creating more and more jobs. In Europe, it's 1.2 million people already working in this industry, and this industry is bringing to the European GDP 4.6 billion euros a year. So that's clearly on the growing curve, and I think that it would be more and more important and determined for the future. And it also helps Romania to diversify further your energy mix, where I think now you have very well represented all sorts of energy, including the nuclear part of it, and that's where it makes it more balanced across the different streams and different sorts of energy, which is always good for the security of energy supplies. If you look at the history of Romania, we also have to remind ourselves that we always played a very important role in this field. Before the Second World War, Romania was fifth global oil producers, and we know that you still have a lot of expertise in this field, and therefore we would like to use that potential for the future of Europe and for the future of these new clean tech global technologies. Because I was very much impressed when I learned that it was here in Timișoara when in 1884 they've been first electric street lights installed. And it's something which is very unique. It's important because this was actually the marker where the new industrial and electricity revolution was taking place, and it was started here in your country. Therefore, I'm using this argument to encourage your research and innovation community to work with European research and development programs even more. It's a little bit problem in our new member states that our research and scientific communities is still learning how to apply for the grants, how to use the European research financial support. And I think that in this financial perspective we have really to tap the potential of scientists from Romania and other countries to use them for the development of these new technologies in Europe. Why? Because we have 6 billion euros allocated under the Horizon 2020 program for the energy-related research. We have a new approach to our budgeting where 20% of European budget are mainstream to so-called energy transition, climate-related projects. So if you look at European budget being 1 trillion for 7 years, 20% of that is climate, energy transition related, and therefore we see enormous potential for innovation, for involvement of scientific communities in this very important development. The leading position of Europe in the energy transition, I think, is putting our economy and our continent to the very promising position on the global scale. Because I'm very much convinced that every single economy in the world will have to go through this transition phase. And we'll see that in Paris we will achieve the first historic milestone when we'll really start to change the course, how we are developing our economies, how we are developing our countries, and transition sooner or later will come to every single country. And here we would have our experience from starting the first. Here we would have our companies developing the technologies which are needed everywhere in the world, and I believe that we will have also our potential to share this with the rest of the global community. When I was with Chancellor Merkel and Indian Prime Minister in Hanover Messe at the beginning of the year, it was quite clear that from one side Indian Prime Minister was very proud and wanted to show what kind of development and dynamic increase of economic activities in India you could see, but at the same time it was also quite clear that they are looking for the good technologies, clean ones, which would bring the electricity to 300 million of Indian citizens who do not have regular access to the electricity. And we have 1.3 billion people in the world which do not have electricity connections. So it's quite clear that the future development would require that these people would get access to electricity, but we cannot do it in traditional old fossil way. We need to use modern technologies, clean technologies, because we need economic development, but at the same time we need to do it in an environmentally friendly way. Second issue, which I believe it's very relevant for this global development, but also for the energy transition which is taking place here in Romania, is the potential of the energy efficiency. We very much want to treat the energy efficiency as a new source of energy. Therefore, we introduce this energy efficiency principle first. Therefore, we want, before big infrastructural project, also to have such a healthy look how much we can achieve through energy efficiency, what we can contribute through that to this overall process. And just to remind you of one figure, we see in Europe that just 1 percentage point of the energy efficiency gain can lead to 2.6% of gas less imported into Europe. So we can see what could be the developments and consequences if we would manage to increase the energy efficiency not by 1 but by few percentage points. And it's something which is very much supported by the citizens, by the consumers, because it's clean, it lowers the energy bill, and it gives the consumer a much better choice from whom and under what condition we would like to buy the energy. If you allow me to come also back to the way how the energy union and European Union would like to cooperate with the Romania on the role which I described already earlier to become very important energy hub for Southeast Europe. I think at first we have to say that there is very impressive list of projects of the common interest. These are the projects which are related to the gas infrastructure, interconnector with Bulgaria, interconnector with Moldova, strengthening of the internal gas network. We discussed the Prime Minister and with the Minister also important of the connection of these new Black Sea sources to the Romanian and later on to the European grid. And we are ready to work with Romanian authorities and with the operators on really materializing this very important infrastructural project as soon as possible. There are almost 5 billion euros from the next financial perspective reserved for energy efficiency, decarbonization, but also smart grids and infrastructural projects. We, I think, overcome the problem of the past when we have simply always be facing the problems how to match the European funds or support from different European financial programs. Now we can do that, and on top of it we are bringing in to the game the Juncker Investment Fund, which should be that element which is very important for the investors. When I have kind of borderline case, I would invest, but I'm still a little bit hesitant, I'm still a little bit worried, and this is very often when you talk about energy infrastructure project, because these are the long-term projects, we have quite big volatility on the energy prices, so that element of hesitation is very often there. And therefore we proposed to use for such a borderline cases the Juncker Investment Fund, because it will give the reassurance to the investors. We are ready to go in that project with you, EIB, European Commission. If there would be eventual first losses, this could serve as insurance for you. So let's go, let's take the risk, let's invest, and let's restore the normal investment behavior in Europe, because you know it very well that we are still investing much, much less than from the time before the crisis, and we lack that investment in energy, in transport, and in ICT, in the ICT infrastructure. We believe that through the improvement of the network, through the improvement of the interconnection, through the investment into the energy efficiency, we'll be also able to remove these bottlenecks which we have on our internal energy market. Be it hardware issues like lack of interconnectors, or be it software issues like different methodologies used by our energy regulators, and create one true internal energy market where energies could flow freely, when the competition would play its role and when it would have positive impact on energy prices. And we need to do that because last economic crisis aggravated the issue of energy poverty. We have 10% Europeans who have the problems with paying the bills. I know that that percentage is slightly higher in Romania, and we need simply to treat the issue of vulnerable consumers of energy poverty as very, very serious one. And I think that by using the potential, the biggest economic zone in the world, which is European Union, we can create that competitive pressure which would bring us more competitive prices and help us to resolve and treat the issues of the energy poverty. For this, to happen, what is very important is to have a good regional cooperation, which will be supporting also in all our subsequent steps, which we'll be putting on the table in the next period. Romania played a very important role in CASEC, where the countries of this region have been getting together and agreed on what should be the best priority projects to get them better interconnected. Romania also did, I think, great decision when they decided together with Czechs, Slovaks and Hungarians to go for this electricity market coupling, because it has already the positive effects, and we see how important it was for Nordic-Baltic cooperation, and how important it would be also for this part of the region. And when I was in Bulgaria, we discussed exactly how Bulgaria eventually can join this market coupling, because I think it would just connect another country to this very important cooperation, and it would bring positive results, I'm absolutely sure, to all. I wanted to say the word moderator, but it's not true, because it was the initial remarks we mean as an introduction to our debate. He already referred to our plans to complete everything before the end of the next year. What I was meaning by that? I just simply wanted to make sure that that action plan, which we agreed under the framework of the Energy Union strategy, would be by 90% indeed completed by the autumn of the next year. What we mean by that? We just approved the summer package, where we started the debate of the new electricity market design. We reformed and presented the reform for our ETS system, emission trading system for post-2020 period. We reformed the energy labeling proposal to simply reflect better the technological development on our market, and we offered New Deal to our consumers in the form of communication, where we highlighted what we would like to see in all subsequent legislative proposals vis-à-vis a better treatment of our consumers. But the year of a delivery would be really the next year, because in February we will come with a package oriented at the security of energy supplies, revision of the security of gas supplies, new LNG strategy for Europe, push for more transparency of intergovernmental contracts and commercial agreements. Then in the summer we will come to very difficult decisions which we need to make in a so-called non-ETS sector, meaning how we would proceed with the decarbonization of transport, what kind of efficiency gains we can achieve in the area of buildings or reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture. And we would conclude that list of actions in autumn, where the landmark proposal would be linked to the new electricity market design. How to better integrate renewables, how better promote regional cooperation, how to adjust different subsidy regimes we have in Europe for promotion of different kinds of energies, and how to treat the issue of capacity markets. So these are all very important elements which we would like to come to the table before the end of the next year. Why we are rushing so much? Because we know that the proposals we make would remain proposals until we find the agreement among the member states and the European Parliament to make these proposals into the valid legislation. And therefore I really would like to have 2017, 2018 and what will remain from 2019 as a time to make sure that all these very important proposals will not just remain on the table, that we will make them valid legislative framework which would create this solid fundament for this new energy union. I also am rushing with these proposals because in 2017 I would like to ask every single member state to prepare their own national energy and climate plans, because we would like to hear from the member states how you see yourself, how you see your country in the energy union. What would be your contribution? What would be your specificity? How you would like to plan your energy and economic transition from 2017 until 2030, which is such a framework within which we are working with this energy union strategy. Then we can collectively compare, assess, judge if we are on the right track, if we are progressing well, and if we are achieving the right results. And for that, of course, we would like also to make sure that this very important issue related to the energy union would be something which would be regularly on the political table. That we would have every autumn special report on the state of the energy union, which would be discussed by the energy, environment, climate, transport, or competitiveness council formations, where the heads of state and government in the December summit would discuss also the progress of the energy union, because we clearly need the political steer, we need to have it regularly on the agenda, because this is strategy which would require very thorough implementation and which would clearly keep us very, very busy for the years to come. If you allow me to conclude by saying that when President Juncker was forming the new European Commission, he was telling us what most of us who participated in the European Parliament elections felt very clearly, that the European citizens want us to focus on the things which matter, which are important, which are affecting their daily lives, which would bring the change. As he said, to be big on the big things. And therefore he wanted us to focus on the 10 key priorities. And I'm very glad that Energy Union is among them, that we are working very intensely on growth and jobs, on energy union, on digital single market, and all the related big priorities, which we hope will bring the necessary change, growth, creation of jobs in the European Union. And I'm sure that energy transition, energy union would be part of this process, and I'm absolutely convinced after the meetings I had today that Romania would be absolutely key partner in this effort. And I really would like to thank you for the support which we received from for the project so far. I just really would like to tell you that more of it is coming, and that we will be counting on your support also in the coming months and years. And I really would like to thank you once again for your kind invitation. Thank you very much.